Now, we were talking earlier in the show about the ongoing troubles in Syria, and this morning in London, a new initiative was launched which was aimed at encouraging young people in Britain to play their part in helping the cause.
That's right. In a moment, we're going to be speaking with two members of the team, but before that, a report from Sadia Chaudhry, who went along to the launch this morning.
The effort is collective, but the mission is one. Help for Syria says it aims to kickstart a campaign to help displaced people from the country's civil war.
That support means
the main drivers behind the campaign are students who are pushing through important money-raising initiatives. 2 years of conflict has seen more than 80,000 civilians killed and nearly 5.5 million people forced to become refugees.
You know, there are lots of people misplaced and they need food and shelter and clothes. So if the event is based sometimes for bakeries, sometimes for milk, sometimes they are specified in a certain area, and sometimes in clothing for general, in food for general. So in any event, we try to participate as much as possible.
3 charities have come together with their expertise in Syria to form this coalition. It says the aim is to spread awareness about what's happening in Syria and also to get people here in the UK to respond collectively. Bilkis and Noor are both volunteers and say being creative is key to raising money effectively.
There are lots of projects that students in particular can take part in. From experience, we set up societies at universities. The first step is set up societies for Syria in support. And you can do bake sales, you can do movie nights, and all money raised will be sent to a legitimate charity.
Have you guys done any of this already?
Yep, again, at my university, we've been very creative with ideas. I'm at Bradford University, and Leeds University also have Leeds Friends of Syria. And the more creative you get with fundraising ideas, the better. Leeds Friends of Syria had recently actually a Stitch for Syria. So basically people came and people gave knitting lessons, and the money raised from that, there was an entry fee for that, and that was raised for charity.
The international community has pledged over $1.5 billion in aid, but the United Nations says barely 20% of the funds have actually been released. Indeed, it seems collective is the order of the day. As the coalition was launched in London this morning, over in Geneva, the UN Human Rights Commissioner urged the world to look for a joint political solution.
States with influence on both sides must pull together to stop this conflict.
With the current political stalemate ongoing, it's often easy to forget that a humanitarian crisis looms alongside. Although these youngsters are unlikely to raise money in the billions of dollars, their organised efforts are likely to at least channel money right into the hands that need it most.
Welcome back. Well, that was an insight into this new initiative, and we're pleased to be joined by Luay Al-Abid from Syria Relief and a volunteer for Hand in Hand Syria, Bushra Al-Akra. Welcome to the show, guys.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum to both of you. Brother Luay, if I could start with you, how did this morning's launch go? It's great to see the footage there. Fantastic idea.
It was extremely successful. It was a good turnaround. Again, it was the trying to pass the message to being working together, making sure that at the end that the effort that people are putting together is going to the right cause. We focused mostly on the works inside Syria, and that was the message that's trying to say that help people not only at the refugee camps, we have 1.5 million, but looking after people who are 4.5 million who are internally displaced in Syria.
IDPs,
So these are the ones that we're trying to pass the message, and working together as Syrian charities who are based in the UK. Can deliver the aid that is required.
Well, let's come to you, Sister Bushra. We know that there's a focus here on young people getting involved. What is it specifically that youth can bring to this?
Exactly. Today's focus was to bring on as many students as possible to take part in the fundraising effort for Syria. Young people are a brilliant way of fundraising. They have a lot of motivation, a lot of enthusiasm, and they have a lot of networks through societies and universities and wider networks. And so the aim of today was to bring students on board, encourage them to utilise these networks at university and start fundraising for Syria. Really doing as much as they can, because at the moment not enough is being done.
What sort of things do you think, I mean, you talked about the networks there, and that's obviously an important thing, and young people do have tremendous networks, but what sort of fundraising activities do you think that young people can get involved in? That would be more difficult if they were slightly older.
A lot of people think students can't make that much money because they don't have that much money, but actually small things like cake sales, which you can do on a weekly basis at university, can raise quite a lot of money. Bucket collections have proved to raise thousands over the months. And so things like spare change, which people will put in a bucket, eventually will raise quite a lot of money. And so it's just about being creative, about doing things like you said, being an adrenaline junkie and doing skydiving or whatever it is for charity can actually raise a lot of money on the long term.
You spoke about being creative. What's the most creative thing you've seen from people doing fundraising?
Yeah, skydiving is definitely, in my opinion.
Well, this lady's about to do a skydive,
Indeed,
isn't she?
I am. Well, I don't know, after seeing that feature earlier on, I'm not sure about that anymore. Well, brother, let's come back to you now. We heard there about young people getting more active and involved. Do you think it's just about that, or are there more things that we could do as a community, as a whole, to try and raise awareness for the issue?
I think absolutely right. I think awareness is crucial, and young people and students are, ideal to be there because of the Facebook, the Twitter, all that message that comes across, and social networking. So that's quite a useful tool. Again, the other societies, obviously the Muslim society that in the UK, again, as Muslims, you all know how we all have to work together. When one part of the body suffers, it's the other part. So therefore, I think we should try to always pull together as a community in the UK and channel it in the right way. So if when you're doing work correct, in the right way, and focus your channel towards that.
And Brother Kevin, just bringing you back into the situation, you're someone who works with a lot of young people, and you must see a lot of people who are enthused and have a lot of energy. Do you think, bake-offs is something that we've done in terms of cooking. Do you think there's other avenues for cooking that could be used to try and raise money to get people together?
The bake-off is definitely the one. That works every time. The cakes don't even last seconds. You put a table full of cakes out and they go so quick. So to me, especially with students and things, that would be the ideal one I would advise.
Yeah, fantastic. And why?
Yeah, again, just to add to the point, one of our friends, again, they do what's called supper clubs, where they invite each other and they cook to each other, and then they charge each other. At the end, you have regular income. So therefore, rather than actually going out for a meal together, they cook together and they put their own money to add that to the charity. So again,
it's a really interesting idea.
That's a really good
excellent.
idea.
Supper club is spreading around in the UK now. We've done it a couple of times, just between friends. You don't have to sit down and make it difficult. Just sit down together, cook together. At the end, you put the £10 from each couple, and
that's a brilliant idea.
And that is
well, look,
helpful.
we're going to come back to you in a moment just to find out how people can get involved, how they can get in touch if they want to do so. Yeah.
Indeed. Now, this past weekend,